All right, let's get right into it. There's this really fascinating new standard that's machines. They're masters of language, sure, but you got to think of them as being stuck inside this kind of digital room. In that room, they can talk, they can write, they can reason like crazy, but they can't actually reach outside of it. They don't have hands to go query a database or a voice to call an API or, fingers to type and send an email by themselves. They're basically brains in a jar. So, the big question is, how do we give these amazing brains a way to actually do things? Well, this is where the Model Context Protocol, or MCP, comes into play. It's the bridge out of that digital room. Okay, so what is it really? The most important word here is standardizes. Because before MCP, if you wanted to connect an AI to some outside tool, you had to build custom, one-off connections for every single service. It was a total mess and it just couldn't scale up. MCP changes all that. It creates one single, open, universal language that pretty much any AI can use to talk to any tool. And this analogy from a DigitalOcean tutorial is just perfect. It really nails it. Think about USB-C, right? It created this universal standard, so you can plug your laptop, your phone, your headphones, pretty much anything, into anything else with the same cable. That's exactly what MCP is trying to be for AI. It's that one universal port to connect any model to any tool. Simple as that. So let's break down how the pieces actually fit together. It's pretty straightforward. First, you've got the host. That's just the app you're using, like your AI code editor or whatever chat app you're in. Then, inside that app, there's the client. Think of it as the translator that speaks the MCP language. When the AI needs to do something in the real world, the client sends out a request to the final piece, the server. And the server, well, that's the real hero here. It's the one doing the heavy lifting, actually connecting to the database or the API to get the job done. Okay, so that's all the theory. But let's see how this actually works in the real world. We'll use a super simple example. All right, picture this. You're in a chat app and you just type, "Hey, list the top chatters." Instantly, the AI's client part goes, "Aha, that's not just a chat question, that needs real data." It sees there's an MCP tool available that can do exactly that, so the client shoots your request over to the MCP server. That server then connects to a database, runs the query, and grabs the list of names. It sends that raw data back to the client and, poof, the AI formats it nicely and presents the answer right there in your chat. It's this beautiful, seamless little dance that happens in the background. And here's the part that's really going to blow your mind. You might be thinking this server is some huge, complicated piece of software, right? Nope. Look at this. This little snippet of Python code on the screen, that's the entire server for our example. It just defines one single tool, get top chatters, that hooks into the database and pulls the information. That's it. That's the whole bridge. It's amazing how simple it can be. And this is the absolute key takeaway. The AI is no longer stuck with whatever old, static data it was trained on months or even years ago. By using this MCP server, it can now reach out and get live, real-world data as it exists this very second. It's a total game changer. The AI goes from being a historian telling you about the past to being a live reporter telling you what's happening right now. Now, this isn't just some cool little side project for a few hobbyists. Not at all. MCP is quickly becoming a foundational piece of the entire AI infrastructure. We're literally watching a massive new ecosystem of tools and abilities being born right now. And the scale here is just staggering. Get this. On just one of the many public directories out there, there are over 26,000 community-built MCP servers ready to go. This wasn't some big company saying you must use this. Nope. This is a total grassroots explosion of developers all over the world just building these little bridges for their AIs. And it's definitely not just the community. The biggest names in the game are all in on this. We're talking OpenAI with their Agents SDK. Microsoft is baking it right into Copilot Studio. Cloudflare is using it for remote hosting. Even companies like Stripe are opening up their financial APIs using MCIP. Look, when the giants of the industry all start adopting a standard, you know for sure, it's here to stay. But okay, as we step into this brand new world of connected AI that can actually do things, we have to pause and look ahead. We've got to think about the incredible promise, for sure, but also the new dangers, the new perils that come with it. Which leads to the obvious and pretty critical question. I mean, when you start opening up all these new connections, you're also opening up new risks, right? As we give AI the keys to interact with our important systems, with our private data, What other doors are we accidentally unlocking for people with bad intentions? And yeah, security researchers are already all over this. They're identifying these new ways things can go wrong. You've got stuff like tool poisoning. That's where a server looks totally helpful, but is hiding malicious code. There's installer spoofing, where someone tricks you into installing a fake compromised server. And maybe the scariest one, tools that just abuse their permissions to quietly steal your sensitive data or your passwords in the background, and you'd never even know. So the big takeaway here is really clear. This protocol is fundamentally changing what an AI is. It is the key that is finally unlocking the door to that digital room we talked about. It's transforming AI from just an isolated brain into a truly active participant in our digital lives. And that really leaves us with one final crucial thought to chew on. The tech is here, it's happening, and it's connecting everything faster than we can blink. So the challenge for all of us, really, isn't if we can build these incredible bridges between AI and the real world. The question is, how do we build them so that they're not just powerful, but also secure and transparent and ultimately trustworthy? That's the real work ahead.